Hey, remember the early 90s? Back then, most Americans felt that homosexuality was morally wrong. Then, yada yada yada, by the end of the decade, those numbers had completely flipped. So, how did that happen? Well, it was thanks, in part, to shows like Seinfeld that effectively broke homophobia. Viewer Christopher Stickles suggested I talk about the 1993 episode The Outing, also known as the Not That There's Anything Wrong With That episode. It starts with a reporter misunderstanding a joke and printing an article that George and Jerry are gay. Just for a little context, look at how TV shows were talking about gays just a few years earlier, tiptoeing around with nervous euphemisms.
Patty cake.
It's an orgy.
Ferns, Sammy, we're talking ferns.
I'm quite fond of you.
I'm fond of you too.
Now, not only can they talk openly about gays, but they keep emphasizing that being gay isn't a bad thing.
We're not gay. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Not at all.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Not that there's anything wrong with that, Jerry.
Not that there's anything wrong with it.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Not that there's anything wrong with it.
No, of course not. People's personal sexual preferences are nobody's business but their own.
There's just one problem. There obviously is something wrong with that, at least to the characters on the show. Every single suggestion that they might be gay is met with wild-eyed gay panic. Look at George's face here.
Oh no!
I better get going.
There's been a big misunderstanding here.
Yeah.
We did that whole thing for your benefit. We knew you were eavesdropping. That's why my friend said all that. It was on purpose.
And look how Jerry responds to an innocent gift of theater tickets.
Guys and Dolls? Isn't that a lavish Broadway musical?
It's guys and dolls, not guys and guys.
Even Kramer's unhappy about the article.
I thought we were friends.
And their parents.
I open up the paper, and this is what I have to read about. I fell right off the toilet.
Am I misreading their reactions? Because it seems like there definitely is something wrong with that. Jerry and George are terrified that people will think that they're gay. They are experiencing literal homophobia. But they're also ashamed of their fear. Every time they feel that gay panic coming on, they know it's wrong, that it's unreasonable. Like every problem on Seinfeld, their terror at being outed is a dumb problem of their own making. At one point, a soldier thanks Jerry for coming out.
I just want you to know that it took a lot of guts to come out the way you did, and that you've inspired me to do the same, even though that may mean a discharge from the service. Thanks.
This guy's brave enough to actually come out on purpose and jeopardize his entire career. Meanwhile, Jerry and George are freaking out over a misunderstanding that will, at worst, cost them a few dates. But remember what life was like for LGBTs in 1993. The Army was about to implement Don't Ask, Don't Tell. The same month this episode aired, Louisiana upheld its sodomy ban. The penalty for having sex with your partner was 5 years in prison. And just a few weeks after this episode, Boston canceled its entire St. Patrick's Day parade rather than allow LGBTs to march. In 1993, homophobic gay panic freakouts were the norm, and far worse than Jerry and George's. This episode put those freakouts under a microscope and revealed, over and over and over, that they are as stupid as fighting over a Junior Mint or a Pez dispenser. Of course, the show never says that. Seinfeld deliberately never had anyone learn any lessons, so of course none of these characters has a breakthrough. They just panic and then get punished. Is it better that way? I think it is. This episode's able to break homophobia by mocking its ridiculousness, and also exposing the contradiction that the audience was experiencing at the time. In the early 90s, the country was starting to realize that there's nothing wrong with being gay, but there was still a lot of holdover homophobia, unexamined prejudices from previous decades that were responsible for things like sodomy laws, canceling parades, and military bans. When Jerry and George freak out, then realize immediately that it's wrong, the audience is right there with them. And even though the show never says it, we're left to wonder, wait, if there's really nothing wrong with that, then why were we freaking out in the first place? So here's my question. What is the wrong with that has them so scared? Let me know your thoughts in the comments and at Matt Baum on Twitter. You can also subscribe for more videos and check out my podcast, The Sewers of Paris, for revealing stories of the entertainment that changed the lives of gay men. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go intercept some Christmas cards before everyone sees my nipple.